So when you're using the GLP-1 and the food noise is kind of shut down and the cravings are calmer, if not completely gone, this is your opportunity to this when I do work with people, I tell them this is your opportunity to recalibrate your taste buds, to relearn what real natural food tastes like and learn to enjoy it again. This is your opportunity to develop that fitness routine because now you'll be losing some weight. You'll be more willing and able to move. Your inflammation in most cases, inflammation drops. So pain goes down. So people, again, are more incentivized to move. Like for some people who've been carrying around a bunch of extra weight for years and years, it's like getting out of jail, right? Like all of a sudden you have your body back. And then the other thing to really think about is that one of the mechanisms of action of GLP-1s is that they improve insulin sensitivity at skeletal muscle. And what that means in just plain old English, it means that it makes it easier for your muscles to grab glucose out of the bloodstream and store it as glycogen, which means in real English, it makes it easier for you to exercise. It just brings more energy into those muscles so that you can exercise. So this whole idea that using GLP-1s is bad for muscle is completely out of context and it's completely false
Yeah.
because
It's
there's pathways built in. Sorry, go ahead.
it's bad for muscle if you are not eating enough protein and not taking your amino acid supplements and your
And not
creatine and
exercising.
not
Yes.
exercising. Exactly all the things you describe how you preserve muscle, which is
Yeah.
so key when you're in a calorie deficit. So thank you for highlighting that. Can you just maybe go just a little bit deeper into how GLP-1s actually work of slowing gastric emptying and what is
Mhm.
the mechanism in action? Because you started to go into describing the effect on muscle, but how does it work and
Mhm.
how is it actually helping us to lose weight?
So the first thing it does is it raises your resting metabolic rate. So think of it as your engine is burning a little hotter, so you're burning more calories at rest, which is why so many people get into trouble, right? They figure out, "Oh, I don't actually have to do that much. I can just sit here and I can eat donuts. I'm not going to eat as many as I used to because I'm not that hungry. And I'm still going to lose weight." The bad news is you're going to lose weight and you're going to look really bad. So don't do that. So that's number one. It increases the resting metabolic rate. The other thing that it does is that it acts on the brain center, the food reward brain center. And that's a really interesting effect because it basically, people will say, I just don't care about food that much. I don't, whereas never used to be able to resist the cookie jar, or I never used to be able to resist food ABC, whatever that may be for you. All of a sudden, I don't, I can say no. Like it's so weird. It's so not like me. I don't need to eat as badly. The food noise, they talk about food noise is down. I'm not always thinking about food. And that's because the GLP-1 actually has an effect on that food reward system in the brain. And it's the reason why it's being investigated for controlling addiction because it's that same center. So that's number two. Number three, you mentioned slowing gastric emptying. Now, this is where things start to get a little gray, right? Because on the one hand, by slowing down how fast your stomach moves food out into the digestive system, which is a natural process of digestion and is supposed to happen, but by slowing that down, it means that you get fuller faster. Basically, think of it this way: it's like you have a colon, yeah, you have like one of those funnels, but the exit out of the funnel is really tiny, so you can't just pour a bunch of stuff in there. Whereas when you're not on a GLP-1 without it overflowing, when you're not on a GLP-1, the bottom of the funnel is huge. So you can just keep pouring stuff in there and it just keeps moving out, right? So basically, the food's sitting in the stomach and the food is sitting in the stomach longer. And this brings us to the second side effect that some people do complain about, and that is GERD or heartburn, right? So because the food is sitting in the stomach longer, it just sits and ferments. And sometimes, especially if people are not producing enough stomach acid, which most of us aren't, um, that you now get reflux because it ferments and it boil, toil and trouble, and you're going to get that reflux. So that there, some people literally get it so bad that they cannot use the GLP-1s.
Hey, that's a wrap for today. But before we go, I want to share something I've been diving into recently. The best way to use GLP-1s like semaglutide, known as Ozempic or Wegovy, and tirzepetide, also called Mounjaro. These powerful weight loss peptides have become widely used over the past few years, but there's also been a flood of misinformation on how to use them safely and effectively. I made my own share of mistakes over the past few years, learning through trial and error as I work to improve my own metabolic health. I want to give you the shortcut to help you avoid these pitfalls so you can use these peptides more effectively. That's why I created a free mini course to give you the blueprint for using GLP-1s for body recomposition the right way. I will cover optimal dosing strategies, important lifestyle and hormone optimization steps, all of which can help you avoid plateaus and eventually taper off these peptides safely once your goals are reached. Now, to access this free mini video course, just scroll down to the show notes and dive right in. It's all there waiting for you. And remember, this podcast is for informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for professional medical advice.